Hello my fellow miner. Today we are going to have a look at ERGO. Isn't that exciting? We haven't actually looked at ERGO for a while and there's been some development, so that is nice. Of course there are a lot of people out there that don't care at all about ERGO, but you do, and that is what matters. Besides that, if you live in a warm climate, you should actually mine ERGO because it's really cool. It runs very cool. And then of course, that is what the opposite gender likes. Cool people. And cool cryptocurrencies, I guess. Before we get into it, a promo for the Fellow Miner membership, which you most likely hate by now, but I don't have any sponsors, so I may as well sponsor myself by showing the membership stuff. Hello my fellow miner. Are you tired of waiting 24 to 48 hours for a proper in-depth video on a new miner? Are you eager to see some results fast? Well, then the Fellow Miner membership is something for you. The Quick Look series is going exclusive for members only. For only $9.99, you can get a membership and access to the Quick Look series. Isn't that fantastic? Well, okay, the price may be a bit less than that, but still, it's cost something. Oh, you're surprised? Because I'm Danish and we are all socialists here. No, we are not actually socialists, we are capitalists, and this is a prime proof of it. Isn't that nice? Now you may ask me, why would you ever become a member just to get access to the Quick Look series? Well, you may not, but you'll also have my eternal gratitude, which should mean something. Well, okay, most likely not, but whatever. So if this sounds compelling, too good to say no to, then go and become a member, fellow miner. If this becomes a success, I may create a new membership that's called Fellow Miner RGB with more stuff in it, because RGB is awesome. So join now. Nbminer 41.5 Ergo full LHR unlock. Changelog. Graphic cards. Overclock settings including how to set up in HiveOS, how to set up in Windows 10, results, conclusion, and profits. If you have already watched the graphic card intro, then feel free to skip it as there is nothing new. Changelog. Added 90% LHR unlocker for the RTX 3080 12GB and 3050. Added LHR unlocker support for ERGO. Quickly moving on like a ninja, we're going to have a look at the RTX 3050 from MSI, the Ventus 2X, the RTX 3060 LHR version 2 from Zotac Gaming. It has been working perfectly, and very good quality to be honest. The RTX 3060 Ti from Asus, their TUF series. No, that is actually the wrong picture. There, now we have the right one. The graphic card comes with 2 balls of steel in each fan. Military grade. Yes, a piano was dropped on my head as a kid, so I am legally excused. We also have the MSI Venture 3, which is also an RTX 3060 Ti, rocking Hynix RAM. But this time it's a revision 2, and that means it can actually clock up to 1700 in Windows or 3400 in HiveOS. This very nice card is super slim and super noisy. Then we have the RTX 3070 iChill 4X from Inno3D. It's actually surprisingly good. The quality is top notch. I have not changed anything. It's super cool actually. And then of course it comes with lots of RGBs that you cannot turn off via the software because the software part sucks. But it doesn't matter because more RGBs, more mega hash. Up next we have the RTX 3070 Ti from Zotac Gaming, also known as the DIY 3070 Ti because it drops thermal padding and comes with screws that have fallen out. I actually expected the quality to be on par with their RTX 3060. Oh boy, was I wrong. What a pile of poop. And then we have the RTX 3080 LHR from Gigabyte, Vision Overclock Revision 2. It's actually quite good looking, but I wish you could get it in black brushed metal instead, even though it doesn't really matter because it's part of my mining rig and I never see it. The RTX 3080 12GB RAM edition from Gigabyte, the Gaming Overclock LHR Extreme. Okay, it's not actually called Extreme. Unfortunately, my RTX 3080 Ti is on vacation and will be back after repairs. If you haven't subscribed, Uncle Donkey would very much like you to hit subscribe and afterwards that bell notification. Yes, the bell, so you can get spammed even while you sit on the toilet. I mean, who doesn't want to get a random notification at random times around the clock? It is very nice. So remember to hit the bell notification and you will get unwanted messages all the time. ERGO overclock settings. Overclock settings for the RTX 3050, core clock -500, memory in HiveOS 2300, in Windows 1150, watts 100. Overclock settings for the RTX 3060, core 0, memory in HiveOS 2600, in Windows 1300, watts 110. Overclock settings for the RTX 3060 Ti Hynix revision 1, core -500, memory in HiveOS 2300, in Windows 1150, watts 120. Overclock settings for the RTX 3060 Ti Hynix revision 2, core -300, memory in Hive 3200, memory in Windows 1600, watts 140. Overclock settings for the RTX 3070, core -500, memory Hive 2500, Windows 1250, watts 130. Overclock settings for the RTX 3070 Ti, core -500, memory Hive 2900, memory Windows 1450, watts 165. Overclock settings for the RTX 3080 10 gigs, core -300, memory Hive 2800, memory Windows 1400, watts 190. Overclock settings for the RTX 3080 12 gigs, core 0, memory Hive 1600, memory Windows 800, watts 220. Yes, the memory looks quite low, but if you take for example 1700 and the mem, it will fail at some point, and above that it will outright crash. To set up in HiveOS, simply update. To get it running in Windows, download Nbminer from the URL you see here and then create a bash file based upon what you see here. Please remember to run the bash file as admin. Results. Let's have a look at the results of the RTX 3050 mining ERGO. Average megahash per second, HiveOS 70.8 megahash per second, Windows 69.6 megahash per second. So there is a difference of 1.2 megahash per second between the two operating systems. Looking at average watts and min-max watts, we can see that they are the exact same in HiveOS and Windows, which is quite nice for a change. The huge gap in min-max watts is due to it not having anything to process when it's loading in a new job. Let's have a look at the results of the RTX 3060 mining ERGO. Average hash rate in HiveOS 121.7, in Windows 121.3. So again, we see that it is better in HiveOS. But it also consumes 1 watt more in average in HiveOS compared to Windows, which makes it more efficient in Windows. And again, we see a gap in min-max watts, which is due to it not having anything to process when it loads in a new job. Now let's have a look at the results of the RTX 3060 Ti Hynix revision 1 mining ERGO. Average hash rate in HiveOS is 134.2 megahash per second and in Windows 134.0. Their average watts is 119 both in HiveOS and Windows, and you see that it is most efficient in HiveOS by a very little amount, 0.002. Again, we see a nice big gap in min-max watts, and that is when it loads in new data. For the next job, let me just be honest here, this card has been pure hell to get anything out of. It performs very badly compared to revision 2 and to Samsung memory, like very badly. But this was the best I could achieve. Now it's time to have a look at the results of the RTX 3060 Ti Hynix revision 2 mining ERGO. Average hash rate in HiveOS is 160.2 MHz per second, in Windows 159.7 MHz per second. Looking at watts, we can see that it's using 139 watts in HiveOS and 138 watts in Windows, so 1 watt less. And again, we see the gap in min-max watts when it loads in new data. And then of course we have crazy low temperatures. Now it's time to have a look at the results for the RTX 3070 mining Ergo. The average hash rate in HiveOS is 169.3 MHz per second, in Windows 168.6 MHz per second. Average watts in HiveOS is 129 and 128 in Windows, which results in it being most efficient in Windows. Min-max watts shows again that it loads in new data. Let's have a look at the results of the RTX 3070 Ti mining Ergo. The average hash rate in HiveOS is 181.5 MHz per second, in Windows 181.2 MHz per second. The average watts in HiveOS is 164 and 163 for Windows, which also makes it most efficient in Windows. Looking at min-max watts, we can see a nice gap yet again, and that is due to when it loads in a new job. Now let's have a look at the results of the RTX 3080 10GB mining Ergo. The average hash rate in HiveOS is 218.1 MHz per second, and in Windows 217.5 MHz per second. If we look at the average watts, it's at 189 in HiveOS and 188 in Windows, which makes it most efficient in Windows again. The min-max watts shows that it doesn't have anything to do when it loads in a new job. And then we of course have min-max core and memory temperature, which both are extremely low, and that is one of the trademarks of Ergo. It looks like I live in a freezer, but I don't. If you don't believe me, feel free to ask the penguins. Now let's have a look at the results of the RTX 3080 12GB mining Ergo. The average hash rate in HiveOS is 257.2 MHz per second, 257.1 in Windows. In HiveOS it uses 219 watts while 218 in Windows. That actually makes it, again, most efficient in Windows. Looking at the temperatures again, we see they are super low. It's actually quite impressive. And of course the gap in min-max watts is it not having anything to do when loading in a new job. Right, so the RTX 3080 12GB is, I don't feel like it's unlocked, to be honest, because I could get even better results with the locked version in T-Rex at 210 watts using the NVIDIA SMI trick. But that was also in T-Rex, so I'll wait and see until I try T-Rex and see if the results are better there. There is of course also the note that every time I run at 1700 it all of a sudden stops working, or if I go above 1700 then it outright crashes. Which is a bit funny because when I mine Ethereum 100% unlocked I go up to, 3200 on the memory in HiveOS, which is 1600 in Windows with no problems, and there the memory is actually a lot hotter than here. So to me it seems like the LHR unlock is not really working properly. But let's wait and see when I test another one. Another one as in another miner. Now let's have a quick look at the mining screen. To the left we have HiveOS and to the right we have Windows 10. Both ran for around 1.5 hours. Actually Windows is still running in the background. The results are based from everything from 10 minutes in to the very end, which was around 1.5 hours in, where I grabbed the log file of both. Conclusion. I don't know where to start on this one. Well, okay, let's start with the RTX 3060 Ti Hynix Revision 1. It's a card from hell in Ergo. Apparently I simply cannot get it to perform. As a bonus, every time I change a clock in HiveOS I have to restart the miner and sometimes even reboot the machine completely. Or else it will come with a GPU driver or overclock problem, and yada yada, on we go, reboot. The results themselves are okay. Some are actually way more efficient than their LHR locked counterparts that we have seen and gotten used to over the past almost year now, or actually over a year now. While the RTX 3080 12GB actually perform better locked, where I use NVIDIA SMI to tweak it. I could not do the same here for some kind of reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's Nbminer and I used to do it in T-Rex. Overall, I'm quite happy with the results, but not the overclocking process. I swear it was hell restarting all the time. Really frustrating to say it mildly. But at least now I'm a master of Google Sheets and Excel depending on which PC I was using, which is very smart and not confusing at all when you think you have tested something and you're like, hey, it's not on my list. And then when you look at the other PC, it's actually on the list and you have tested the same 2 or 3 times. 2 times. That really makes you feel like a genius. And that is also one of the reasons it has taken this long to actually complete the test. Before we move on to the profits, I would like to ask you for your help. Please click like if you like the video, subscribe if you haven't, and share the video around the internet. It helps me out a lot. Thank you, I hope to see you in the next one. Which by the way is going to be Ethereum plus ton in Nbminer. Yay! Or something. Where? Profits. Ka-ching!